Okay, so question 22, part A, is looking at just kind of reasoning through numbers to figure out how to come up with an equation for this situation. The situation is Greg bought 4 notebooks for $6.40. And part A is asking which equation can be used to determine the price P in dollars of the one notebook. And so we've got P divided by 4 equals 640, P divided by 640 equals 4, 4 times P is 640, and 640 times P equals 4. So these are basically taking the 3 different parts of the equation, the price, the original price P, the 4, which is how many notebooks there are, and the cost of the 4, 640, and putting them together. And so which of these makes sense? Well, if you did P divided by 4, that would be the original price divided by 4 would be 640, and that would not be correct because you would actually end up with a price smaller than the original price. You would cut the original price up by 4, so it couldn't be that one. Same with B, you'd still be cutting up that original price. So anytime you're dividing the original price, you're going to want to eliminate those two because we want to be left with the original price. 640 times the original price equals 4 is kind of the same thing. If you took the cost of 4 notebooks multiplied by the original price, they're just kind of jumbling the numbers up and it wouldn't make any sense. It's this one C that we're left with that makes sense. Whatever the price P is, if you multiply it by 4, your 4 notebooks, you're going to be left with $6.40. So your answer is C, 4P equals $6.40. And then it wants you to solve it. What's the price of one notebook? Well, you could think of it in 2 different ways. If you are comfortable with what we did in chapter 7 towards the end with that multiplicative inverse, where you have 4p equals 640, if you wanted to get rid of that 4, you could just apply the multiplicative inverse to both sides. So the multiplicative inverse is 4 of 4 is 1/4, and so that would be 1/4 on this side, and you'd also have to multiply by 1/4 on this side. And then you would have to cancel that guy out. You would have P equals 640 divided by 4. And then since this is still the non-calculated part, you would have to take this into a long division problem. 4 divided by 640. Think about what your answer is going to be. It's going to be 1 and a little bit because 4 is going to go into 640 one time. And then there's going to be some change, so the decimal will go here. 4 times that is 4. I'm going to be left with 2. Bring down the 4. 4 goes into 24 6 times, which is 24. And your answer is going to be 1.6, which makes sense right there. The other way you would want to think about this question is if you aren't familiar or comfortable with the multiplicative inverse and getting rid of parts of equations, then what you're going to want to do is just think of it this way. If 4 notebooks cost $6.40, then what I have, so $6.40 per 4 notebooks, and don't be afraid to put a decimal on top of a fraction. There's nothing saying that we can't do that. Then we need to figure out, so this is, $6.40 per 4 notebooks. Then if we can turn this into one notebook, we would know what the answer is. And so in order to do that, all you have to do is multiply it by the supergiant 1 of 1/4. Remember our supergiant 1, it has to be a value of 1, but this value of 1, 1/4 over 1/4, is going to turn this 4 notebook into just one notebook because 4 times 1/4 equals 1. And so down here I will write that would be 1 notebook is going to cost $6.40, and then 640 times 1/4 is 640 over 4. And you're left with that same problem that you had up here. So that's how you do that. You do that long division again. So make sure when you go into this test that you're comfortable with long division with decimals. That's going to come up a lot. And oftentimes it's going to come up in the middle of a different problem. So you may understand how to solve the problem, but if you're not great at dividing with decimals in your head, it's going to make life pretty tough.